I was gonna say you should
Dropkick
just play it in the
Murphys.
background.
I should have Dropkick Murphys in the background. Ooh.
The lead singer is my neighbor. I could go get him if we want to.
What's up? Whoa, wait. What's up,
Okay.
everybody? Welcome to Tuck Rule Takes, episode 126. Liam, Mike, and Aller here. Liam, you live next to...
Ken Casey, the lead singer of the Dropkick Murphys. Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
he named his dog after my dad, Seamus the dog.
Oh my
What
god.
a fucking... What a
Yeah.
revelation on
I got-
St. Patrick's Day.
Let's just talk about that. the
That's
whole
signed
episode.
that's signed by all the band members right there. Dropkick
Holy
Murphys,
shit.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Holy
incredible.
shit. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day to every, I mean, even though you'll be listening to this after St. Patrick's Day, but yeah. So obviously we're recording Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. 4-year anniversary of Tom Brady leaving the Patriots. That's also, I guess a holiday for cynics and
I'm pretty
pessimists out there. But I still can't get over that you live next to the
he's a
Mr.
stud.
Dropkick Murphy himself.
Yeah, for
Mr.
real.
Murphy. That's crazy.
They always do. They have a big barn out in the back where they do like the band practices and shit like that. I always hear them fucking blasting away.
You
They
son
said
of
it's
a
soundproof.
bitch.
It's not soundproof at all. You
Oh,
can
no,
hear
of
it.
course not. Speaking of sound, I will all like holidays have their own like music, their own like instruments and stuff. I still think pound for pound, bagpipes are like the best. Like
They really are.
bagpipe.
You don't
Not
hear
the
them
sound
that often.
though. No, the sound
that might be a
sucks,
part of
dog.
it. No, but no, it does, but it's in a good way, especially if you're out and you're drinking, there's fun.
Yeah,
Like no
it's
one
gotta be
really
like a hype up bagpipe song. Like if it's just kind of like funeral bagpipe music.
No. It has to be like an event or like something's going on. Yeah, you can't just bust out bagpipes at like I don't know a few. Yeah,
my
like a
cousin
funeral,
plays
like
them
that's-
religiously,
And
I
you
don't know
need
what his
the
fucking deal is.
person playing them to wear the kilt too, just to have.
Yeah,
the
I was about to say they have to
full
be
thing.
wearing
Yeah, because then it's
skirt,
not
yeah.
real. Yeah, then
Exactly.
it's like, what are we even doing here?
Oh,
Yeah,
top
that
of the
doesn't make
morning
sense.
to you, laddie.
Yeah. Oh my
I
god,
love
that
the
is
bagpipes.
that St. Patrick's Day though, definitely.
Everyone's Irish on St. Paddy's Day.
Every year I think to myself like, all right, this is the year I'm gonna go out and go drink. I never do. I never do. That just
you
happens
had
when you
about
get
60
old. Though.
years to do it.
Yeah.
Now it's time to hang them up. Every cowboy has to hang up the Spurs, big man.
Yep. I had to. I remember one of the last times I went out. We were at a bar and there were people playing bagpipes or whatever. They were pouring I think it was Guinness off the stage into my mouth, so that was fun.
Awesome.
I threw up so violently that night, and when I say violent, I ran out of the house while everybody was sleeping. I was on all fours in the front yard going.
Wow.
I popped a blood vessel in my eye.
Oh my god.
Dude.
And I didn't even notice until I went to work the next day. Yeah, I'll try to pull it up as I'm talking. When I went to work the next day,
yourself
I was
on your front lawn.
The worst part was it wasn't even mine. We were visiting friends. Like, but so it wasn't even my yard. I
haven't been invited back since, I'd imagine.
Dude, when I got home, like, or when I was in the car, I don't know if you can see. That's my eye.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dog! That's
Wow.
disgusting.
Dude, and I started to get worried because as I was working, it started to go around my eye, and I was like, "What happens when it gets into my pupil? Like, what?" I got so scared.
Dude.
I was terrified. But yeah, that was
That's disgusting.
That's my I think that was like one of the last times I really went hard on St. Patrick's Day.
For good reason. Yeah.
Let's make sure we check his eyes
Guinness
this episode, Liam.
Yeah.
No, we're good. I
test.
got green eyes, green hat, green shirt, no red. So we are good to go. Okay, so let's without further ado, we'll get into it. We don't want to keep this segment going too long because again, it's just me and Al that have watched
And this is just like a cathartic anger. You guys just get on here and download
and
your shitty hardware from this.
You can get the gist of what's going on. But
I tried to watch it. Let the record show. I did try and watch it, and it fucked up my entire phone, and I gave up.
Yeah. I don't know how. All of a sudden he texts me, Al, and he's like, I don't know what happened. But, like, I had Apple Music that wasn't mine. I was like, what the fuck are you
all of a sudden,
about?
dude, like, because I signed into Mike's Apple TV account, but they signed me into Mike's like phone account. So all of a sudden, all my pictures are gone. All my music is Dr. Dre. I'm like, what has happened? Like, all the Sugar Ray that I had just downloaded and was listening to for the last 5 days is gone. So I'm flipping the fuck out. And then I'm like, I haven't listened to Dr. Dre in 10 years. Like, no.
Dude, I saw Sugar Ray at Epcot. at Epcot, dude. We were front row, and it's not like it wasn't a crazy thing. It was like they have like artists come in there, like they've had like kind of the artists that are like not washed, but like the ones that have been around for a while and they come back or whatever.
Not washed.
But no, what we did, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But all right, so Dynasty, the documentary is officially over, thank God. Episodes 9 and 10. Just to recap. Episode 9 was called The End Game, I believe, or Breaking Point or something like that. Some apocalyptic all is over thing, which makes sense. But
I'll get the official name in a second. You keep going.
Okay, good. But so what they did that one basically talked about it started off, which this is immediately when I texted you guys and I was like, I'm already upset. So it is an overstated phrase, and I dislike it now, but I didn't have a Patriots doc starting off with a Trump rally on my bingo card. And that's how it started off.
That's
so
Liam,
that's
hilarious.
Just to let you know how this episode was going to go, that's the vibes we got. So it was Belichick talking not Belichick. It was like a Freudian slip. Belichick, fucking Trump, same person. That's what the doc would lead you to believe. Trump is talking in New Hampshire. And he says something about how Bill Belichick wrote him a note. Belichick said he could read the note out to the people in New Hampshire or whatever. And basically they're acting like, first of all, there's no reason for Donald Trump or anything involving him to be in this documentary how it was. Like, there is no
politics
reason.
In general. There is no room for politics
reason at all.
I love Obama. I don't want to hear about Obama.
Dude, want to know something crazy, guys? If you go back to like certain tweets from your boy right here, I was like, Trump is your president, fucking deal with it. I don't give a shit about politics. And we need to stop with the revisionist history, and we are not going to talk about politics. But looking back on that year when he got elected, let's not act like there weren't millions of people being like, maybe this is what the government needs. We need someone new, someone who bucks the system. So many people thought that. And of course, hindsight, no one knew what would eventually come and all the shitstorm, all that stuff. But at the time, we got to stop acting like Belichick was the only, because guess what? Kraft, something they don't talk about in this episode. Kraft donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration celebration or whatever. Yeah. Tom Brady had a MAGA hat in his locker. Never gets talked about on the documentary. But what do they do, though? They open the episode with Trump saying that Belichick wrote him a letter, and then it goes into Devin McCourty and Matthew Slater, rightly so, being like, we didn't really like that. They didn't even really bring up, and Al, this guy, the gist I got of it, they weren't even necessarily talking about the fact that he wrote the letter to Trump. It was more the fact that like the whole thing is don't talk to the don't talk to the media, don't talk to whoever. But the fact that Belichick wrote the letter, and not just that, but told Trump that he could read it out loud and say that he did it, that seemed to be the point that kind of pissed them off, right?
Correct. And that's what I got from it too. And let's think about this too. If this was like Danny Amendola or Rob Gronkowski kind of talking about it, like guys that genuinely hate Belichick and don't like how Belichick kind of ran things, like, okay, you could have the skepticism, that's fine. But Devin McCourty and Matthew Slater, two beloved Patriots, two gentlemen, two masterclasses of human beings. Like, I'm going to take their word here. And I'm going to be like, you know what? Yeah, they had a right to be pissed. So that was, I'm not going to lie to you. When you said that you were mad about some of the things, I was thinking that was maybe one of them. And if it was going to be, I was going to come at you and be like, come on, dude. Like, we're on here like talking about how great these guys are.
Because we should take all this with a grain of salt, though, because it is a pretty well-known fact that Al donated $875,000 to Hillary Clinton's campaign back in the day. So, everything he said.
Where did I get that money? I would like to know where I got that money.
I was like, can I get that back?
Teacher money. That's teacher money.
We donate that back.
That's teacher money.
Please, can I go buy a house with that, please?
No, but I think that we do all kind of look at that, and it's like, oh, like, because they talk about it in Liam, to fill you in too, they throughout the episode, they're talking about how like that year felt weird and it was stressful in the locker room and there wasn't as much joy or whatever. Again, we have to remember that time, that year was wild, not because of football, but because of what was going on in the country. Everybody, they talked about the protests, which again, another thing, why are we, I didn't think that needed to get so much spotlight in there, but like,
thank God I didn't watch
that was a crazy time. So everybody's saying that. So like the Slater and McCourty thing with them being like, we felt kind of, cheated where like, why could Belichick say this? But then, because I think McCourty even said like, I had some things I wanted to say, but I didn't. But,
Exactly.
So I totally get that. It was a time where, and then fucking, what's her name? Nora, whatever. One of the journalists they had was like, it seemed like Bill lost the locker room.
Oh, Pizzicati, the one that wrote for the Globe.
Not true, because like years later or whatever, like Belichick had a whole thing. Remember, I think Slater even brought it up where he kind of sat the locker room down and they all had like a big roundtable discussion about like what was going on. And again, this is the annoying part. I don't even want to talk about all this because this has nothing to do with the Patriots dynasty. Like this is politics and like culture and all that. No, that's its own thing. And like, that was like a weird, like they tried to make it seem like it was it. And I think Slater or McCourty said it where they were like, whenever Trump would talk, like the Patriots, we kind of got labeled as like a Trump supporter because the top 3 people in our organization were shown supporting him. And he mentioned Kraft, Brady, Belichick, but yet that was the only mention you got of Kraft or Brady talking or like in connection with Trump. Like no one else talked about it either though. Like they didn't really have Kraft on, no interviews with Kraft, nothing with Brady about it. It was all Belichick and all that. So that was just like a start to it where I was like, why are we talking about Donald Trump and a Patriots? And it's like, just enough. So I didn't get that. Al, you can kind of go with, kind of lead us into the next topic of it. But yeah, that was my thoughts on how it started.
Yeah. And to that point, I think it was to drive home the point that, again, like we just talked about for 5 straight minutes, McCourty and Slater felt like what the head coach was giving down for direction, he wasn't even following. So then everyone else was like, why are we following this? Because we have our opinions, we have what we want to say, but we're for the sake of the team. And you heard Devin McCourty say it in episode 9, for the sake of the team, he kept his mouth shut, which is admirable of Devin McCourty as a captain. And again, as a leader of men, which is great. So I think that was the reason why. And I agree, like having
weird
the
way
Trump
to get
rally,
there,
exactly. But that was the point of it, and that's how I saw it. As far as the rest of episode 9 goes, I mean, it was really like cringe.
I got notes.
Good. Okay. I didn't take any notes. So I'm going straight from the dome here. But it's crazy how cringeworthy that season got. And we saw that season, like they still were a pretty good football team. And granted, they had to come back against the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game. And granted, there was
zero spotlight, by the way. That Stephon Gilmore play, Liam, they didn't even show, correct me if I'm wrong, Al, they didn't even talk about the game, show highlights of the game. They didn't even have
the only highlight they showed was the Amendola touchdown. That's the only highlight.
Yeah. That was it. They didn't even show because they do it later on.
Touchdown?
It was the touchdown to put them ahead 24-20
in the back of the end zone. They didn't even against the Jags.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wait,
they didn't even show show like the stadium with like the little ticker on the bottom that said like AFC divisional. Nothing. And they didn't even show the
fucking whole documentaries.
Dude, I would say that Stephon Gilmore play.
It's not a football documentary.
Liam, this is why I need you to watch it, because I need you to understand.
No, because then I'm just gonna get pissed. I hope.
Yes, you'll understand.
I hope in 10 years
Al's
from
being
now,
more even keel, but
yeah, I hope in 10 years from now they make a documentary about the Chiefs dynasty and just point out all the terrible things that happened. How Kareem Hunt kicked a woman in a hotel room. Tyreek Hill, Father of the Year candidate.
Who,
Like,
by the way, did you
oh,
guys see the Tyreek Hill news that came out today?
Yep, back in the
Yep.
news.
Yeah,
being a
back in the
scumbag.
news
what do you do?
for
Do you
you guessed
impregnate
it.
another chick?
You DA
Yep.
domestic abuse. So
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I thought he stuck another chick, but hit them at school too.
no,
It was a cigar or cigarette to the face, but I mean,
Oh,
same
okay.
thing.
Dude,
We've all got that.
I don't even it just but dude, you need to see it, because to me that Stephon Gilmore defensive play is one of that's one of the plays that you think about when you think about the second half of the Patriots dynasty.
Yeah.
That's what you think about. But they didn't show it at all. I didn't like it. The other thing I had, and then after they then after the whole Trump is Belichick, Belichick is Trump comparison type weird thing they did, all of a sudden, Al, correct me if I'm wrong, this turns into a TB12 documentary. Strictly TB12 method documentary.
Yeah, which is that was another thing too in that episode,
Just weird.
talking about how the Alex Guerrero decision was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. But and I do have, so I'm just gonna say this. I know that this whole documentary was a Bill Belichick kind of slander piece, and we understand that.
It turned into it because it didn't start out like it, which is weird.
But with that being said, I think something like that, where if Brady listen, Tom Brady at that point had won you 5 Super Bowls and everything else. If he really wanted his great trainer to come on the plane, if I'm Bill, I'm just all right, whatever. Fine, have him on the plane, have him help our guys, whatever, fine. But you also understand too the reason why Belichick got so upset, because it went against everything that the training staff was saying. So it's that divine
thank God
line.
you said that, because that's my exact thought process.
And that part I get. Totally get that. So if Brady wants to do it, fine. And if other guys want to ask questions, fine. But the main thing is go to your training staff. There's a reason for it. So the fact that Belichick was Guerrero can't come on the plane, can't do anything anymore. I'm just I just kind of shrug. I'm come on, man. Did it really have to be this big of a deal?
See, I don't do it. That's how he's always been. Why is Brady going to get preferential treatment? And then why is that preferential treatment then going to drive a wedge between your coaching staff and the players? That's fucking lunacy. And I get what you're saying, where it's Tom Brady, greatest player of all time. I understand. And eventually it did turn into Alex Guerrero was allowed on there just to help Brady. So they did end up doing that.
Compromising a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And that was because obviously, Kraft, who, by the way, Liam, these 2 episodes, Kraft portrays himself as the glue that held it together. But then also as the victim. He portrays himself. I have a quote too and actually I'll do one of his quotes now. He said that once TB12, after they won, what Super Bowl was it?
The Rams Super Bowl?
No, it was
the Falcons one.
Yeah. So after they won the Falcons, so before the Rams won, Kraft says that's when Brady just started to not be team first. In what fucking world can the owner of a team say that about a player that's as important as Tom Brady, and then just brush it off like it's nothing? He doesn't say it with any negative connotation, nothing. But yet he talks about later on in the episode, Belichick benching Butler as something where he didn't put team first. And he says that that Belichick, this is crazy. The first time, I can't believe he did that, whatever. It's just, it just shows that Kraft would suck off Brady at any moment he could at the detriment of Bill Belichick. And it's just, I don't understand how you can admit that your star player stopped putting the team first, and that's just fine. And everybody brushes over it because Belichick is fucking Darth Vader mixed with fucking Hitler and Donald Trump. I don't get it. It's crazy to me how Kraft talks about Brady moving forward and how he talks about Belichick is fucking disgusting. And I have now, and I'll say, I'm done with Kraft. I think that he made one good decision in his fucking GM thing, which was getting Belichick. 100% the best decision any owner has ever made, probably. And then from then on, he has done nothing. I don't care. Yeah. You got us a new stadium. Cool. Nothing to do with what I'm thinking about. Awesome. Every owner does that at one point.
Got us the biggest Jumbotron in the world.
Awesome. Good for you, buddy. Good
so
for
we can
you.
watch our team go 6
So you
and
can
11
watch
with that.
so you can watch your fucking massage parlor girls jerk you off, which by the way gets no
in ultra
shine.
high def.
They
Of
didn't
course.
talk about
That's
that.
funny.
But
Yeah,
yet,
that
but
was
yet they
that was
talked
a
about Kraft's ring
conspiracy.
getting stolen. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy the things that get talked about. Crazy, Liam.
Kids
It's
fired
crazy.
up. No, it's true. That is a good point though. Like if you're gonna point out all the problems, point out all the problems.
No, because it's not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Al. Did
Yes.
you?
No, you're good. You're good.
Did you have anything else about? Because I just have a couple more bullet points to run through. Do you have anything else you want to throw in?
This is what I want. I want to hear your bullet points first, and then I'm going to respond to all of it because I have a few general thoughts about the documentary as a whole and about people as a whole in it. So finish your points, and then I'll get what I want to get.
They bring up do your job in a negative light. They start talking about that like it's a negative thing. Did you catch that, Al? Because I think it was either Howard Bryant, who for some reason we're still getting, Michael Hawley, who you would think he is the most important figure in New England media. And then Tommy Curran comes in like a little dickhead in the second episode too, and I'll talk about him. But they talk about they talk about do your job, and they make it seem like that mantra made everything joyless. And then they also compared it to somehow to like Americans doing their job and how it felt. It's a weird way they tied shit in, and it's very weird. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Compared to Mein Kampf,
do your job has never been seen as a negative thing. You had people chanting it at rallies, not at like KKK rallies, which I'm sure the doc would want you to think, but like rallies for like the team. Like you have players saying it. It's on shirts. It's on the locker room. Like it's a good thing. Why are we portraying that as a negative? So I saw that and I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then I just have one more for this one. It's on the Malcolm Butler thing, because they obviously talk about this and everybody's like, you know, no one knows why this happened. No one, like the players, McCourty, everyone says they don't know. But yet Kraft comes in and says he was told that it was a personal issue or whatever. How is everybody saying no one knows anything, but yet people are telling Kraft things? This is where I'm thinking Kraft is just reading the tea leaves and just going by what his fucking journalist people say, what the Globe says and all that stuff. And he's like, oh, this is what happened. We got to stop making excuses for that team. That team could not stop Nick Foles or the Eagles. Let's stop saying if Malcolm Butler was there, who gave up, 12 touchdowns and like 800 yards that season. Like, let's stop. I get that he played every snap, so that's important. And I'm not saying that maybe if Butler plays, it's crazy why he didn't play, but let's just stop acting like him being in the game wins the Patriots that game, because they couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop anything. That was exactly how I think McDaniel said it, where he was like, it turned into a back and forth. And like, was this really going to be who had the ball last? Which it was. And Tom Brady threw a pick instead of dumping it off to James White, who was wide open. Remember that?
No, he got strip sacked.
Oh, yeah, strip sacked instead of dumping it off to James White, who was wide open. Because he was probably trying to make the big play, because he was probably trying to show up his coach. He's like, I'll throw for 600 yards, and then I'll get you fired, you fucking piece of shit. This doc made me angry at Tom Brady again. I thought I was over that, but I'm not. So, Al, those are my bullet points for the first episode. Do you have anything else to talk about with the first one?
No, the first one. I think you actually did a good job of covering everything. I mean, it just kind of showed.
It was annoying. The most annoying episode, I think, I had to.
Which is fair. The end was coming. We all saw it was coming. But again, I liked hearing about why they didn't enjoy the 2017 season. It's like, okay, tell us why it wasn't a good fit. Tell us why that you really didn't enjoy it. I just like hearing those raw, just like kind of authentic feelings coming out, because that's what a documentary is. We want to hear about those little pieces. Now, granted, it's not everything we wanted to hear. Yeah, but it's still, and I'm just going to say this, and I don't care what you or anybody else says, because I've talked with other people about this, and everyone's on the same page. I wanted to hear Belichick say why he sat Malcolm Butler. I know he wasn't going to, but I think he could have done himself a little bit of a favor, just a little bit, and just given us a nugget, a crumb, something. Because I'm still wondering to this day why he sat Malcolm Butler. And again, like you said, Philadelphia was unstoppable that day. Nick Foles and the Philly special, all that stuff. Congratulations.
The biggest stick I've ever seen.
Clement still didn't catch that ball in the back of the end zone, but we're not going to talk about
He
that.
totally did.
But
Don't
they
play
didn't even
these
talk about
games.
the Super Bowl. That's the thing. They
I didn't
glossed
talk about
over
any
it.
of the Super Bowls.
They
This
didn't
is a
even like talk.
documentary
I'm sorry.
about
I'm sorry.
sports.
Hey,
just
real
saying.
quick,
Documentary about
Mike,
problems.
real quick, can we just say that Liam's number one team is the Eagles now and Patriots are two? Can
No,
we
it's
just
not
say
that.
that?
Oh, dude, I said that like 40 episodes ago.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Anyways, so
That's why he's wearing green, not for the Celtics, because he's trying to sneakily root for the fucking Eagles.
Kelly
Exactly.
Green.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Enjoy Devontae Parker. Enjoy Devontae Parker.
Enjoy.
I won't.
Yeah.
But it's all right. He'll be hurt.
Yeah.
He won't.
I'm sorry.
No, but
Al,
again,
keep going
you're
before
good.
you were interrupted by the Eagles fan.
No, you're good. But with that, again, I just wanted to know, just give us a little something. You don't have to go into it specifically. Even if you just said something like, hey, Philadelphia had a lot of good receivers downfield. We felt like Malcolm's speed wasn't good enough to cover. Like, we felt like these guys were just better fits. Like, fine, just a little something. That's all.
Just something.
Just a little something.
Everyone was going to get smoked by Alshon Jeffrey that day. Let's call it spade a spade.
Dude, everybody did, man. Him, Nelson Aguilar.
Nelson
Aguilar torched
most catches, tied for most catches in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was crazy. That Super Bowl. Yeah, I didn't.
Him and Torrey Smith high-fived running crossing routes.
That was crazy. Listen,
that's fucking awesome.
We are far enough removed now to where I can look and say that was a fucking gangster. Like,
yeah, 100%.
That's one of those.
Like
that's one of those
there
things.
In the Super Bowl, just having fun. You're like,
dude, that's one of those things that, like, if Edelman and Chris Hogan did that, we'd all be like, fuck yeah. But since it wasn't us, we're like, you assholes. You got to have respect. Fuck off. But no, that's awesome. Yeah. Hindsight, that makes sense. Yeah, Al, I'm sorry. Was that your final thing with the?
That was it for episode 9. Let's get into episode 10. Then I got my overall thoughts on the whole dynasty.
Right. So for what it's worth, though, it would have been nice to hear him say something, but at this point, it's already been kind of talked about. There were rumors Malcolm Butler was out partying. He was kind of sick throughout the week. He didn't practice, whatever it was. I don't care. I just don't think that him being in there would have won the game, because it just seemed like one of those divine fucking destiny things.
Could have brought prime Deion Sanders into that game. He wasn't going to stop.
I don't know about that. Okay, so this is it. The final episode, the end game. Everything's done. And I will say this episode does nothing if not portray Tom Brady as the victim here. And I'm not even saying that at sometimes he was right in his feelings. That's fine. But this documentary portrays him and Kraft too as being like the victims of Big Bad Belichick. And you can tell because every time they show Big Bad Belichick, he's got a grimace on his face, grumpy like he always is. And you have the Darth Vader sad synth chords playing behind him every time they show Bill Belichick. It is wild. You need, like, Liam, if nothing else, you need to watch these last 2 episodes, because
I'm definitely not watching the fucking
crazy. The first ones are definitely worth it though. So what I will so kind of how I'll start it. This whole episode talks about basically how Brady started to detach from the team. And it upset me more because, like, they talk about it and they try to justify it because Belichick was being mean to him. And, they kept showing the same clip, which, Al, I don't know if you noticed, the run the fucking play again, Brady. They showed that clip from practice.
Like, I can say that just off memory. Like, that's burned in my brain.
They showed it 10 times in this documentary. And it's like they showed that as a way, as someone was talking about saying how, like, Brady was being, like, overly criticized by Belichick. And it's like, no, this is the disingenuous shit that I'm talking about, where, like, they're trying to shape that narrative. That's not what that was. That was just a practice. Like, also in this episode, Liam, did you know that Tom Brady left the Patriots right after that Rams Super Bowl? Because that's how the documentary made it seem. The 2019 season
hung around for
did not
more
happen.
Season. No,
did not happen. And Al, I don't know if you caught it. They did not. Nobody mentioned anything about that season. Not a single thing. Not Brady being petty after practices, saying, "Oh, you should ask Kraft about my contract." Nothing. Not him talking with the Dolphins ownership, I believe. Right. That's who he was. He was talking to about potentially
Dolphins
leaving.
First round pick. So
none of that. It went. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, and then time to get rid of him. That's how they do it in this episode. It's crazy, but yeah. So one of my last bullet points out, and then I'll throw it to you. If you have any, if you kind of go through what you want, we'll go back and forth like we just did. I don't understand why Brady and Kraft are having so many secret little fucking Manhattan Project type meetings. What is going on? Why is Brady going to Kraft's house all the time? Like, no wonder Belichick wanted to get the fuck out of here, because this is where, from the 2018 season, Kraft and somewhat Brady at every chance started to undermine Belichick, especially with the Alex Guerrero stuff. Like, is it normal for an owner and a quarterback to meet up and play tummy sticks and talk about the coach? Like, because then that to me gives the quarterback this thought, or this, inflated head where like, oh, I don't need to listen to the coach because I can just go right to the source. You know what I mean? Like, that rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know how you felt about that, Al.
I mean, I can understand why you'd feel that way, because it's like going behind the coach's back. And I understand that. I get that. But at the same time, do you also consider too that maybe Brady in the early part of his career would talk to Belichick, would try to do everything, and then it did just get to a point where it's like, you know what? Lately I've tried and haven't gotten anywhere. Let's see if I can talk to Robert and see if something can be done. Do I think it's the best idea? Not necessarily, but do I think that Brady might have done it because he felt like that was his only option? Yeah, it's a possibility. But again, it goes back to, you know what? They just the split up needed to happen.
Yeah,
it did. At the end of the day,
100%.
The split up needed to happen. Brady needed to prove that he could do it without Belichick. And Belichick, I mean, let's call it like it is, guys. We can't deny it. He wanted Brady out since 2016. I mean, let's be real about that. Since 2016, we'll say 2016, because Garoppolo was drafted in 2014. Maybe not those first couple years, but 2016, he was ready to go to Garoppolo. He was ready to move on. And even I've said this to you guys so many times. I was a big believer in Brady, Gronkowski, Belichick. They all should have just said, see you later after the 2018 Super Bowl, start fresh in 2019 and get the rebuild going. Because by now they probably would be back in Super Bowl contention, from 2018, 2023, if they did it right.
Yeah,
but regardless, at the end of the day, and I'm just going to repeat myself, and I know I'm repeating myself, but they needed to split up. It was time. And you even hear, like, when Brady's talking about the breakup, you can sense the emotion in his voice, because New England meant something to him, and you knew that. But then you go to Belichick, and he's just like, it was time. It's the right thing to do. And it's like, that's one of those things where, for me, and maybe I'm being sensitive about it, I'm like, Bill, for the love of God, you had the greatest defensive tackle ever in Lawrence Taylor. You had the best special teams player, Matthew Slater. You had the best offensive player in Tom Brady. And you're telling me a guy that helped you win 6 Super Bowls in New England, you're not even going to show a little bit of emotion about it? Like, I know you
also,
have
they filmed this when he was still the head coach.
I know, but
like, you have to carry yourself with a certain composure. Ask him in 10 years when it's all nostalgic and he can take a walk down memory lane. He might be a little different. He might not. If he isn't, not the type of person to show him.
And see, the problem with that is I see that, but I think that Belichick still is never going to give us anything. He's going to keep everything he will.
But when they recorded this, he had a job to do. He is still
he was probably pissed
in the organization. Yeah,
probably.
No, I get what you're saying, but my pushback to that would just be he has never been like that, No, he hasn't. I don't think talking to like a random director of a documentary that he probably got the gist that was kind of being a little weird towards the end there. I doubt he's going to get emotional with him, but I bet if him and Nick Saban are maybe talking about it down the line, he might get a little bit more emotional. The one thing though you mentioned, because you brought up Brady, the one thing I noticed, which I really liked, towards the end of it, he's talking about, how he left, and he's like, I'll Kraft, the fans, all that. And as he's saying, and Belichick and his family, Brady gets choked up. So he mentions Kraft, the fans, the players, the teammates, all that. The second he brings up Belichick, he immediately gets choked up and is holding back tears. I fucking love that, because it shows me, and kind of, Al, this is why I agree with you. They both understood, because Belichick even says when they're talking about Brady leaving, Liam, Belichick literally says, and I think, it made sense. I wasn't surprised by it. Like, he made the right move for himself and all that. I think they both knew it had to happen. You're with someone for 20 years, eventually, especially when it's that you are that high strung, that stressed, that you have so much victory. I mean, we see it all the time with what's his name? Kobe and Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, Kobe and Shaq. You have teammates, players, you go through so much and you put so much into it. Eventually it just dies out. Like, it is what it is. So
one
like,
person feels they did more, both sides have
it's
their
just
options.
like, listen, dude, I don't need to take this shit from Belichick. And then Belichick saying, well, all of a sudden you're going to change. Like, this is how we've always won. Like,
each
no,
person
I'm
feels
still
more
the coach.
responsible than the other one. I put in more than you
It
did.
is what it is. Yep. Which I just thought it was awesome how Brady didn't get choked up talking about Kraft, even though he would go over his house for sleepovers every weekend. Didn't get choked up talking about the fans. Didn't even get choked up talking about the players. But the second Bill Belichick, and this isn't me talking like Bill Belichick has some power over them. To me, no, I'm saying it in the sense that, like, it shows their connection, where, like, it's different, man. When you have someone who has basically given you a football life, no matter what happens, and this happens when Brady was doing his podcasts, when he would go on other people's podcasts in the last offseason.
Oh, his
he gets choked up when he brings up Belichick, which I think that's one of those things and I get what you're saying, Al, where you want to see that same emotion from Belichick. You will never see it, but I think you have to listen to, and I'm not saying I'm talking just in general. You gotta the words Belichick says. Yeah, you motherfucker. The words Belichick says are his emotion. And the way he does talk about Brady, not necessarily just in this doc, but just in general, he respects Brady and he appreciates everything.
Like, you can hear Bill Belichick talk about, like, how he used to have to game plan for players, and that's him getting emotional, being like, this was a great player. Like, we used to never be able to throw deep against Ed Reed. And you're like, damn, like, he's feeling himself. When he talks about how, who was it? Friggin' one of the old wide receivers ran, like, a perfect out route. He was like, it was an incredible out route. And you're like, see, there's Belichick's emotion. It's not like most people's emotion. It's not like most people's emotion, but he's like, that was a really nice out route. And you're like, that's probably the most you'll get out of him. Like, eat that up.
All right. I'm just going to run through my my last couple bullet points, then we can kind of get the full thoughts and then move on to actual Patriots news. Another Kraft quote I have here. He says, my head coach is a pain in the tush. I was willing to put up with it as long as we won. First of all, it's not cute when old people don't swear. Like, this is what Kraft does. He's been talking like this. Dude, just talk. No one thinks you're cute because everybody just thinks
pain in the tuchus.
But yeah, dude, it's like, just talk. He was a pain in the tush. And
pain in the rump. Just pain
in the rump.
Shut the fuck up. And then the fact that he's like, I was willing to put up with it as long as we want. Like, he paints himself as like this dude. He was like, I was trying to hold it. And you saw, it's the quote from the trailer. I was trying to hold it together as long as I could. Dude, shut the fuck up. You weren't trying to hold it together. You can't hold secret meetings with your quarterback behind your coach's back and then tell me you're trying to hold it together. I'm sorry. You can't do that. Kraft, you are a disingenuous
way of coping with holding it together was going down to Jupiter, Florida to get hand jobs. Like,
which again,
really held
like I said, did not get brought up at all, which is crazy because people were talking about the Patriots losing draft picks for this or getting fined for it at the time, which crazy. I already brought up the 2019 season. They move right past it. They don't even talk about it. This one pissed me off. And this was just kind of something I noticed and how many times have I said in this one pissed me off? That should go to show
at least 17.
This documentary sucks. I'm literally
bad. This documentary. So at one point, as the Patriots beat the Rams, which Al, I told both of you in the group chat, there was one part of this documentary, of these episodes that were good. Them covering the Rams game was awesome because you have players. Isn't it crazy? Listening to players and Belichick talk about football is so fun because McCourty goes, this is what people don't paraphrasing. This is what people don't realize about Belichick. He thinks of things you don't. The whole year the Patriots were playing man. They got to the Super Bowl. They switched it to zone. And like people were saying, Slater, that's a risky move this late in the season. But that's why Belichick is who he is. That's how you hold an offense like the Rams to 3 points.
Because they're probably like, what are they doing? Like,
Oh my God. And that's what they said. And then
we're
they
getting
showed
none of the looks on defense we thought we were going to get.
that's what they were showing because they showed Belichick on the sideline talking. He's like, listen, guys, they can't fucking beat us if we keep playing like this. We just got to keep going. And it's just hearing them talk about that is awesome. But after they win, after, confetti falls, all that stuff, they're showing the highlights of all the players, everybody hugging, congratulating Brady and Belichick saying, I love you to each other. And Tommy fucking Curran's voice comes on and he says, when this happened, Bill was probably thinking defense can still win games. We don't need to be paying these quarterbacks all this money. Dude, why the fuck? Every single thing that happens in this documentary needs to be painted or voice overed with some sort of negative shit. I am positive that is not what Belichick was thinking.
Yeah,
You want to know why?
I bet as he wins the Super Bowl and confetti's coming down, he's going, wow, Tom Brady's replaceable. No, you fucking idiot.
No, he's probably going, when can we get the fuck out of here? Because we won. I just want to be gone. And like the thing is, you want to know why I know it's not what he said? Because there's a whole nother year of football that happens before Tom Brady leaves, but they wouldn't say that. So I thought that was annoying. Brady not telling any of his teammates that he was leaving was kind of weird to me. Like that was something where Edelman,
Irish goodbye
Slater,
to the
they all came, like even Edelman
on St.
of all
Patty's
people.
Day.
Yeah, they came out and he was like, yeah, I learned from Twitter. I learned from the ticker on the bottom of the screen. That's kind of weird to me. But what can you expect from someone who is best friends with Alex Guerrero, who, by the way,
it was
props to the doc. They did bring up a little bit of how Alex Guerrero is a snake oil salesman. They showed clips of people talking about it. So, which was good. But then they immediately went back into Tom Brady saying like, he was doing some weird leg workout that freaked me out. He was rubbing the back of his hamstring, and Tom Brady's leg kept coming up and hitting Alex Guerrero in the arm.
I think that's a reaction. Like if you hit that spot, I think
no, for sure it is.
Up,
but it freaked me out because I didn't know what I was seeing at first. I didn't think anything like crazy sex. I
saw that before.
You think they were
I saw that before because they had that in Tom versus Time too, when they showed like the leg.
He was doing that.
So I saw that before.
I remember that, but I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
And then I turned the Tom versus Time documentary off when he tongue kissed his kid.
And then the last bullet point I have, then we'll give our final things. After they show, like, they give a quick, just kind of like synopsis. He went to Tampa. He won a Super Bowl. It was a big one. He won it without Belichick, whatever.
Couldn't be in the Patriots documentary.
It's still very weird how, like, we talk about how it's difficult to build a Super Bowl team, but yet people want Belichick to win in 2 years. They want him to win a Super Bowl without Brady. So it's just weird. It's all disingenuous. And I'm not talking about the doc. I'm talking about just like people in general. But Scott Pioli, who loves Scott Pioli in this documentary, by the way, him, Ernie Adams, MVPs, I think. Scott Pioli was like, when it comes to the whole Brady and Belichick thing, he said his answer, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the players on the field, to the coaches. It's disrespectful to every teammate that these guys have had. Yeah. And that, to me, is the ultimate like answer to that question. Like, it's a question that doesn't even deserve an answer.
Because it's disrespectful to Adam Vinatieri, who kicked his way to 3 Super Bowl victories, to Deion Branch, who won a Super Bowl MVP, to Edelman, who won a Super Bowl MVP, to
Ty
all
Law,
the greatness that went into it.
Peyton Manning every chance he got.
4 fucking times, 3 times, whatever it was.
Disingenuous to Peyton Manning, who helped us get there those years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, thank you, Peyton. Very gracious of you every time. We appreciated it.
Yeah. So I think that's the ultimate. That's the best
that
answer
is a
you
good
can
answer.
give. Yeah. It's because you're basically taking the question.
I'm stealing
saying,
that. I'm going to use that because I
so
argue
Love
with
it.
a bunch of old heads all the time. We're like, I think it was Brady. I'm like, all right, shut the fuck up.
The question doesn't even deserve answering.
Yeah,
like that's
but
why
now
it's
I'm
not
be
even.
Like, all right, so you're disrespecting our Lord and Savior Deion Branch, and that's fine. But you're going to go to hell for that.
Oh, by the way, speaking of receivers, we got another Dante Stallworth appearance in this episode for some reason.
God,
hasn't been on the team for like 12 years. Got him on this for some reason.
I am not going to be a part of a podcast that slanders Dante Stallworth. I will tell you that.
I like
now.
Dante Stallworth.
I don't care how many people he hits and kills in a drunk driving accident. He could hit 5 more. It's Dante Stallworth.
Al,
dinner with my family.
Yes.
That night.
I'm gonna cut Liam off before he starts like voting yes for murder.
Yeah, for real.
If it's Dante Stallworth, some people are
thoughts overall. Final takeaways from the doc. I'll give mine. And then we'll move on.
Final takeaways. We need more Stallworth.
Final takeaways.
Yes, so much of them.
I would have liked to hear more about the 03-04 Patriots. I would have liked to hear more about the Malcolm Butler benching. I would have liked to see in the final season. I thought that there was a lot to be desired. And I think it actually, believe it or not, I think it gives you more questions than more answers.
I was
think that's
gonna say that. It seems like they present a lot of questions and don't answer any of them. So no one actually knows why Malcolm Butler got benched.
Nope, not even Malcolm Butler
So
himself.
it's fucking pointless.
Which I think Malcolm Butler and Bill Belichick both know why. I think that I think there was something that happened off the or something.
There had to be
something where Belichick and Butler were like, listen, we're just like, I'm not saying Butler killed him or anything like that. I'm just saying I'm sure Butler was fucking up or something.
Belichick
and he's just like,
told
listen,
Butler
man,
to invest in Bitcoin.
I'm going to save
Butler
you.
did, but then Bitcoin crashed.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Al, what else?
But anyways, so those are things that I would have liked to see more of. My biggest takeaway from this, and this is going to go against popular opinion, I'm going to give Robert Kraft credit because out of anybody in the series,
that's Al. If you're not watching, I just did the fellatio motion because now
if anybody,
too, Brady and Bell, Brady and
no, not Brady. If anybody, you guys are terrible. I can't wait to interrupt you guys all the time when we talk about free agency. I'm just going to do that and be a dink.
Do it.
I plan on it.
I like to think we'll say something that won't be so gargling, but that's fine.
Robert Kraft actually said things and gave you insight into new things more than anybody in that documentary. And he actually was raw in his opinions and everything. And I can respect that. Tom Brady did a little bit. Belichick was Belichick. Like
Tom
the
Brady's
fact that Robert Kraft, I know. I don't know.
I've never seen Tom
Robert Kraft actually coming out and saying, like, I think Brady would have stayed if Belichick left. Like, you don't hear many people saying that. So I'll give him credit for that answer. I'll give him credit for when he dealt with Hernandez, because Hernandez, he did the same thing. He was very honest about that as far as just everything that happened. But overall, and even the Malcolm Butler thing being like, from what I understood, something happened off the field with Malcolm. Like, not that we didn't know that, but it's like, okay, we can confirm that it was something along those lines. So he gave us a little bit of new stuff. So that's why I enjoyed hearing Kraft more than anybody. Brady gave you, like you said, little nuggets here and there toward the beginning, but not as much toward the end. And then again, Belichick was Belichick. He didn't really give you anything. And especially at the end too, where talking about the Malcolm Butler benching, he's like, we already talked about that. Director's like, we haven't talked about it. And then he just looks into the camera stone cold. It's like,
so I have a question.
Whatever.
Do you think that's actually how that happened? Do you think that there was that voiceover do you think that was like
unedited?
Like the director said that, but because
no. I think they did.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't even see that and think that like the director said something and Belichick just stared at him. It's almost like when you watch like MTV's The Challenge, where they'll show like people talking to each other, and it's like, no, it's like there's no way that's how it happened.
Right, exactly.
I don't think that that's how that happened. I think that because if you pay attention during like the stare, Belichick is somewhat doing this nodding. So I don't know if someone else is talking or something. I think that I'm calling bullshit on that. Now, I don't think that Belichick gave
it just felt awkward. I was like, I don't think any human being would respond like this. Like,
it's weird.
At very least, he'd be like, well, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like,
but that's what I think. But I do agree though, Al. I don't think he gave any crazy answer about it or anything, but I don't think it went down just like that. So that's what I felt about that.
Right. Yeah, that's all I got. I would have liked to see more from this. I would give it overall maybe like a C minus overall.
Okay. Yeah. I mean Liam, this one's for you. How do you not talk about Cam Newton coming?
I know.
Like you know what I mean?
It's the biggest moment of the last 20 years of Patriots history.
So not only that, like how do you not talk about the COVID year? Like you know what I mean?
Because Brady wasn't a part of it. That's exactly why.
But yet they talked about Brady going away. They didn't talk about Belichick with the Patriots, which is what the documentary was about. I don't know, but whatever. I understand. Not a mention of Vince Wilfork, which was weird. No. So you're telling me that you couldn't reach out to have one of the best defensive players in Patriots history?
Fan favorite. Like beloved Patriots.
I would have liked to seen at the
Weird.
very end, like, you know how in some documentaries they'll be like, we reached out to this person, they declined to comment on the documentary. I would have liked to see that because maybe there were a few people that they reached out to and they're like, nah, I'm
Perhaps.
good.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's we'll never know because I don't
Do you
think
want to
this
come on our
documentary
show
was
and
done in
talk
good
about
faith.
how much Brady is awesome and how much you hate Belichick, and half the players like probably good.
Yeah, right.
Think am I right?
Weird that, and again, just another thing. I know it happened after Brady left, but like, actually, no, it didn't. No talk about how Antonio Brown came to the team. Like that was a big thing. That should have been something where it's like, because that happened in 2019. What they could have talked about, I'll give them a whole fucking thing. They could say, yeah, Belichick, even if they want to skew it in negatively towards Belichick. Belichick saw that Brady was leaving, so he kind of half-assed and, tried to reach out, and he got Josh Gordon, drug user.
Awesome.
He got Antonio Brown, piece of shit. Like they could have brought up so much other stuff. They didn't bring that up. And then the one thing which is egregious to not bring up. Do you guys know who the first ever unanimous MVP was in the NFL?
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
Now, let me ask you a part two. Do you know what never got brought up in this documentary?
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady unanimously winning the MVP.
Crazy, man. Just like this. And that's something that they should have brought up because it's a pro Brady
not a football
thing.
documentary.
No, and I think that's why Al, this to me is a D+ because I liked the first like 4 episodes because if I remember correctly, because that was like, you kind of like going down memory lane. It's cool. Matt Chatham said something on Twitter and I'll kind of paraphrase it. He said, it's just funny. Oh, no, it wasn't Matt. It was Christian Fourier who said like, it's funny seeing the first half of the dynasty players talk about Belichick and then the second half. It's just, you see the people who come in, and I saw someone else on Twitter, so I forget who it was, but it's like the second half players, they came in and the sausage was already made. So they just saw Brady being who he was. They saw Belichick being whatever. The first half group, they saw it being made. So they just have more respect, more whatever for it. Now they still taught like Brewski said something, a little bit of pushback, but it was more in a, squeeze me, like he said, squeeze me like the dish towel, get everything out of me. I hated him, but he still got everything out. It's just crazy to see the different eras of players talk about.
I literally thought you were going to go the paint me like one of your French girls type of route right there. Just like
but they did say though, kind of painting a little bit. They said that Belichick's game plan against the Rams was his Mona Lisa, which I liked. That was a good one. But yeah, I give this a D+. I'm wildly underwhelmed by it. I wish like they didn't. If you are interested in all the Patriots controversies and kind of like your newspaper headline grabbing
still
stuff,
shouldn't watch this because it doesn't give you any answers.
This is kind of the documentary for you. If you outwardly dislike Belichick, this is the documentary for you. But if you're just if you want to know about the Patriots dynasty, you can probably skip this one.
Hopefully
because
somebody will do an actual good one.
Yeah, it's just not, it's not great. And one kind of an underrated thing, the music kind of sucked in this. Like there wasn't really any like, it was just like generic, like let me just YouTube search like
I will say
rock music.
I don't care what you guys say. The Taylor Swift "Look What You Made Me Do" for the 2016 season, that was such a nice touch.
Sure.
That was
done so much better.
I love that.
I love
you could play
Taylor
Helen
Swift.
back.
I loved that.
I love Taylor Swift too.
That was awesome.
And one thing, just real quick for the final touch for me, the one-liner at the end that Danny Amendola said about getting the kid from Foxborough High to tell you that Tom Brady going. I laughed at that. I thought it was funny.
Danny Amendola can fuck off for life. Off is the direction he can fuck. To take a quote from The Rock.
The Rock.
Like, but it was dude, very,
the only
funny.
time I've ever been excited for wrestling in my life. Like,
dude, get into it. WrestleMania is going to be wild.
Trust me. There's no scenario because I'm a normal human being who has sex, so there's no way that I would watch wrestling. But I watched that entire video and I was like,
so good.
I want nothing more than to go watch that and crack a beer. I'm not going to do it, but I want to.
That's fine. I'll do it for you. But
please do. And let me know when The Rock wins.
Danny Amendola comes off as one of those players that came in and he was just Team Brady the whole time, which is fine. Like there's players like that, but like I take what he says with a grain of salt. The whole, like, I could get the kid from whatever. Yeah, because the kid from whatever doesn't know the inner workings of the Patriots and that Brady's been trying to get away and that the relationship is just crumbling. Like it's just another disingenuous thing that he said. It's a cool little quote. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, dude, it's like you're speaking like it's this easy, like Brady wanted to stay and Belichick kicked him out. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
But
all right, let's get to free agency because I have a lot of notes here.
Yeah, I
It's
want
going to take as much time.
First and foremost, Jacoby Brissett is back. The prince that was promised. This news broke 3 minutes after we stopped recording. Liam sent this and said, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
The biggest kick to the dick. Because literally we checked right before the last episode, before we wrapped.
Yep.
We were like, Mike, check it out. You went, you were fresh. You're like, no new news. Perfect. We bounced and fucking. If we had just one more conversation,
crazy.
Topic, if we had just
we've been talking the whole time.
Second.
You take over. You start where you want to go with the Jacoby Brissett and move on from there because we've been talking about this dynasty shit for the last like 20 minutes.
Well, first of all, Jacoby Brissett, the dream bridge quarterback. I don't think anyone in Patriots Nation is not psyched to have Jacoby Brissett back in whatever form, whether he's the backup, a bridge quarterback, just a handsome face on the sidelines. We're all psyched to have number 7 back. And hopefully he takes Juju's number.
Takes Juju's position. I think Juju.
Yeah. Oh, please, dude. He's
get him
much better wide
Get him gone. Now. Get him gone. Yeah. Take it. Yeah. Jacoby Brissett being back is awesome. I think if for some reason the Patriots draft a quarterback and they're not going to start him, you know what? I'm fine with starting Brissett because guess what? Worse quarterbacks have made it to the playoffs. So I'm cool.
Worse quarterbacks have started for the Patriots. Like we could have Jarrett Stidham or Brian Hoyer, who I love dearly. Like we could have Brian Hoyer back. And like,
worse quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl. Like, I mean, let's call it like it is.
I was going to say that too. But
are you shitting on Trent Dilfer here? Come on.
Yes,
he's okay.
No, he had like 2 good seasons.
Brad Johnson or Trent Dilfer for worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Oh,
because they happened within like 2 years of each other. They're both fucking terrible.
I would say who's worse. I would say Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, I was going to lean that way too. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to agree. Brad Johnson was actually kind of okay sometimes.
But yeah, no, Jacoby Brissett being back, awesome. Yep. I think he's
universally
awesome.
Everyone's psyched.
There's nothing you can hate about him just being in the room because I think he has a lot of knowledge. He's a serviceable guy if you got to plug him in there. Like say they draft May and they're like, you know what, we're gonna have him sit. Brissett, take it for the year. Fucking let's go, Jacoby Brissett. Let's ride. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I don't think anybody. Yeah, hated that.
We're all on board. Good signing. Only $8 million, and he's going to be the perfect mentor to the next quarterback.
Yeah,
next.
And even his numbers aren't terrible. We will move on in a second, but just diving in.
Al's fucking done with this conversation.
Yeah,
I'm just like we don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yes, we don't. Next. But I just quickly want to mention because I remember how sick he was on the Colts. 18 touchdowns, 6 picks, threw for 3,000 yards. I can jive with that. Like that, those are good numbers. That was his highlight year. But I remember him being really sick on the Colts. Psyched out of that. All right. So next topic would be Pats and Judon preliminary contract talks. Everyone's down for Judon. We're gonna lock this guy up.
GM Judon. I think this means he's coming back, which I think we've all at some point said we want him back.
Yeah, injury doesn't scare anyone off.
Guys, I'm gonna burst your bubble for a sec.
Oh no.
I think there is a small possibility that Judon doesn't even play this season for the Patriots.
Oh, what? Says who?
If they can't come to a contract extension, if they can't figure out, I want Judon here. I want that on the record. I want Judon
starting to make me think you
don't.
Of
the Patriots. I want him to be a Patriot for the rest of his career. But guess what?
Sure you do.
If they can't figure out the money, okay, that's over the line. That's how
I felt in this documentary. I'm sorry.
That was too much. You're shunned. But with that, unshunning you, shunned. With that, if the Patriots can't come to an extension with Judon, which I would be shocked if they didn't, would they be so bold to be as, you know what, closer to the draft? Maybe we see what's out there in the market. Maybe we get like a second round pick. Maybe, dare I say, a first round pick for Judon.
How many years left does he have on the deal? 1?
His contract expires after the season. So that's why I'm like,
this could be a during the season problem too. Like I think they'd probably
But
Rather
what
wait during the
happens?
season.
But what happens, right? If he's either not producing during the season, or God forbid he gets hurt again, then you're saying to yourself, "Are we going to get the same value that we got from Mac Jones?" Again, I want Judon
Yes,
here. I
of
want him
course,
to be a
naturally.
Patriot for life.
Yeah.
But if the value is there, and
The value
Judon,
isn't there right now. Like, he got hurt still. He's hurt right now. So
I
like,
think
if
you
he
could
gets
still
hurt
get a
again
second
during the
round pick
season,
for Judon if you trade
yeah.
him right now.
So if he gets hurt again during the season, I don't think it would drop to anything worse than a third or a fourth. Like,
yes, it would, because he's another year older and he's another year in the league, and then he's coming off 2 injuries in 2 years.
yeah, but who's say like, I'm assuming that he doesn't get a season-ending injury, because like the odds of back-to-back season-ending injuries are very low. Like, if anything, like he'll strain a bicep or something, and he'll be out for a couple weeks, and then you're like, all right, he's kind of damaged goods. So like, that's why I'd say it would drop like a round,
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah.
That, I'm being optimistic. That being said, I'm knocking on wood. He's gonna blow his fucking knee out in the preseason. I hope he does. But like, fucking, I'm saying it's we're playing the odds game here. As a former gambling man playing the odds, I like to think he won't get a season-ending injury back to back.
I get that. If since Gerard Mayo is the coach, seeing how he's re-signed players who I think matter, how he's a defensive-minded guy, he's a linebacker himself, I think people should be confident that Judon's going to be back. If this was under the old regime, I could understand, because it's always get rid of a guy to, 1 year early, even if he wants to be here, whatever, good, bad, it is what it is. That's the process that's happened the last 20 years. But no, I think since Mayo's here, I think you're going to see like him. I think Barmore is going to get extended too. So I think that I think he's going to be back, especially since it's out there that they've opened up talks with him, starting the talks so early on too in the off season before the draft and everything. I think he'll be back, and I hope he is too, because he's an important part. He's a locker room guy on the field, everything. Yep,
it's a good point. Like, the fact that like Mayo's clearly trying to differentiate from the old regime where he's locking guys up. Like, I believe he's like, all right, we've kept the Patriots mainstays from the last few years. Judon would be more valuable to keep than Hunter Henry in a pure locker room perspective. Like, he's beloved. So I'm a big believer in that one. There's no reason to believe that they wouldn't re-sign him. But we did miss out on Calvin Ridley. Signed once again. The Titans come in and swoop. Wide receiver that we've been talking about for many weeks, almost pleading to come to the Patriots. The Titans out of nowhere swoop in. They're like heavy underdogs to sign Calvin Ridley. Do you guys see the betting memes? Calvin Ridley, the DraftKings. Congrats to the one guy who bet $4 million on Calvin Ridley.
Come on.
It does seem preposterous, but yep, he goes there 4 years, $92 million, 50 of it fully guaranteed.
Big contract.
Huge contract. And I gotta say, the Titans are the stupidest fucking team in the league, like by far. They trade AJ Brown, who they didn't want to give him a huge $100 million deal, only to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Then the year after that, sign Calvin Ridley, who's less valuable than AJ Brown, for basically 100.
Yeah, that part is bad, but you got to give the Patriots also a little bit of credit here. Elliot Wolf was close with the negotiations. Like, the rumor was that it was $22 million. I think it was right in the $22 million a year area. So they were right there. And I think it's very clear, and I think the three of us can agree on this. Calvin Ridley did not want to come to New England, not even in the slightest. He had no desire.
You can't blame him either. I get it.
I don't either. No, and I get it too. But at the same time, you also think, all right, in that situation, you might have had to overpay for him a little bit. Fine, we don't want to overpay for him. Okay, fine. But if there's someone out there in the future that you really want, and I'm just going to throw a name out there because there's been disgruntlement with his organization, like, good word. If Justin Jefferson ever became a free agent and you were like $5 million away from getting him, you better pay that $5 million extra and figure out the rest later to get him on your team. Or even like a Deebo Samuel or AJ Brown, like, go get those guys if they ever became free agents. My point being, it's good to see that the Patriots recognize, okay, we need to pay to get a wide receiver. They didn't get Calvin Ridley, but at the same time, if in the future they have that kind of money, I feel more confident they'll actually get deals done because they know what the market is and they're not naive to the fact that you have to pay in the market to get something off the market.
Yes. The problem is, like, if a player doesn't want to come to New England, much like the DeAndre Hopkins thing, you can't force them. Like everyone
you gonna
cussed out
do?
the
Yep.
Patriots last season. And like, yeah, it seemed like Hopkins kind of wanted to come here. Like he came for a visit. But in the end, like he chose the Titans, who were, in as bad of a quarterback situation as we were, and he still chose there. Calvin Ridley clearly didn't want to come here. We have a problem with trying to get talent in-house now.
Yeah. And I mean, like people are, and I saw like some people, oh, this is like, the guy doesn't even want to come to your team. Well, I get it. Like, we don't know who the quarterback is. Like, it's a semi rebuilding team. Like, I can't, granted, even like us fans are like, if you come here, you're a part of the building block to be good or whatever. But like,
it's a tough sell.
Yeah. What it's going to take 1 year. Say the Patriots draft a quarterback. They have a good year. They just miss out on the playoffs, or they happen to fucking make the playoff. They're a good team, an exciting team. They hit on a quarterback, receiver, defense is good. Next year, you'll have players that want to come. This is what's going. You're either going to have to, like Al said, overpay. But then if you're Elliott Wolf, the de facto GM of the Patriots, he's going to be like, do I overpay for someone who hasn't shown he really wants to be here? You know what I mean? So like, I get it. It's a balancing act. You lose out on them. That's a huge contract. I know the Patriots have a bunch of money, but I mean, that's a hefty contract. And like you said, Liam, to choose to give that to Calvin Ridley as opposed to AJ Brown. The Titans are obsessed. It started with Julio Jones. The Titans are obsessed with getting like older receivers and giving them bigger contracts.
Former Falcons receivers.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, that's true. Like, what the fuck? But it's just like and then they also, I think their radar is up where they're like, oh, the Patriots want this guy. Nope, we are taking him. So yeah, I don't weird, like, good for him. He has his money. Go play quarterback with fucking what's his
Will
name?
Levis.
Yeah. Will, I was gonna say Malik.
Actually, I think it's kind of a good fit. Like I think that will be fun to watch. I do kind of like Will Levis.
It'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to see them go, 6-11. That'll be a good team. But yeah, I don't know. But so Liam, this is what I wanted to ask you. What do you think they do at wide receiver now? Because I think there's one obvious option, but you don't like the guy. So
well, I was gonna turn this on you guys. Do we really want T. Higgins? Like, are you putting all those same eggs in the Calvin Ridley basket? Are you picking those eggs up and moving them over to the T. Higgins basket now? Because I compared them both as very equal wide receivers. A lot of upside, a lot of downside.
The guy that if I had at this point, a guy that I think they could realistically get and someone that I think could help their football team right now, I'm calling San Francisco and I'm saying, what do I have to give to get Brandon Ayuk? That's the guy that I want here in New England. Now, does that mean if we got T. Higgins, I'd be upset? Absolutely not. Big body receiver, can make a lot of contested catches. He's a much better version of Devontae Parker. Much better.
I mean, so is everybody.
But right. Yeah, it's
You're
not that
a much
hard.
better version of Devontae Parker.
But you need something like that to happen. You need to be like, you know what? We have the second round. We have a second round, 34th overall pick. Here, we'll dangle it in front of you, but you gotta cough
and
up a little
understand the Ayuk train. Like, dude, I would love Brandon Ayuk.
But no, that one's very unrealistic. It's unrealistic, and I know that.
Like, they just went to the Super Bowl with him. Like, they're not going to give him up. But T. Higgins, like, are you guys sold? Like, because you'd have to trade for him, so you'd have to give stuff up, and then you'd have to pay for him.
So I think I got their stats pulled up right here next to each other. So so they both came into the year at the same age. So they're both like the same age, same everything. The first year,
is this Ayuk and Higgins?
Ayuk and Higgins. So Ayuk had 750 yards, 748. Higgins had 908. Okay, comparable. Then it was 109, or they were a little bit different then. But okay, 2022 is where it starts. 2022, Brandon Ayuk has 1,015 yards. T. Higgins has 1,029 yards. Very comparable. Now, last year, Ayuk had 1,342. Higgins only had 656, but he only played in 12 games. So I think they're both, looking at it, they're both very comparable. But I think if I don't know, if I were to guess, like, I would want T. Higgins, I think, but I don't have a real good reason why I would want him over Ayuk. I think I'm really only saying that because I want to back up my argument to you that I would rather have
Higgins, but Higgins is more available is the point. Like
true, which I think that might be it.
I would say there's like a 5% chance that we could get Brandon Ayuk, and I would say there's a little more for that for T Higgins. Like I'm going to level with you guys. Like I'll spoil my T Higgins thing here. I don't think they're going to trade him. Like I think he requested a trade, and they're going to be like, no, fuck you. Like we're paying you. You're going to play for us. Joe Burrow's going to come back. We're going to be a great offense, and if you do well this year and we make the run that we're supposed to, maybe we'll pay you. Maybe we won't. But like they don't have to trade him, and just because he requests it, if he gets disgruntled and starts holding out and stuff like that, completely different story. But like I don't think they're going to trade him at all. Especially with Tyler Boyd being a free agent, they're down one at wide receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
T. Higgins just doesn't move the needle for me, and that's why I sent this in the group chat when we were talking about it earlier this week. He's barely a top 20 receiver for me, like fringe, and I can argue that he's like closer to 25. And I'll present the names to you right now.
Yeah, please do, because I don't remember.
So I got them all here. Yes. So tell me if you guys, I'll name off some names. You guys say yay or nay. Tyreek Hill.
Better.
Yay.
Yes.
Better.
Yay.
Justin Jefferson. Better.
Yep.
CD
Yay.
Lamb. Better.
Yay.
Michael Pittman. Better.
Yay.
Stephon Diggs. Better. That's 5.
Yay.
DK Metcalf. Better. That's 6. Keenan Allen.
Yay.
Better. That's 7. AJ Brown.
Yay.
Better. That's 8. Devontae Smith. Better. That's 9. Puka Nakua. That's 10.
Puka Nakua. I do not
Puka
put
Nakua is better.
Nakua up there.
Puka Nakua is better. He had an incredible.
I'll give you Devontae
as a
Smith,
rookie.
obviously, but
I
I'm not
think
doing
Puka
it.
Nakua, you need another year of that production to have the
Probably,
argument.
but like, dude, as a rookie to come in here and break every Jerry Rice rookie record.
Mac Jones had a good rookie year too.
He did, but I'd like to think Puka's going to have better structure around him for the next.
Cooler
years
name.
than Mac Jones did.
I'll give him that.
So
I'll give him that.
okay, we'll leave
Okay.
Puka out. If
So I got 9 people so far that are ahead of him, which
Al,
makes sense.
you're not on the Puka train, or you are.
I need another year of him. I need
Okay,
another
so we'll
year
leave
to
Puka off.
prove
So
it.
that's 9. Devontae Adams makes it 10. Jamar Chase makes it 11. DJ Moore makes it 12. Chris Olave makes it 13. No, DJ Moore.
No, I don't put DJ.
I'll give
Moore
DJ Moore.
above
Dude,
DJ.
you
DJ
have
Moore.
to put DJ
It's
Moore.
close.
Dog.
It's
He's
close.
so good.
It's close, but
not
I don't think so.
Dude, he's so
Okay.
much better. He's the
Okay.
number 1 on
Okay.
every team. So that's shit. I lost count. Is that 13? I believe it is.
I think it's 12.
12. Okay, so
I got
Chris
11,
Olave
but-
makes it 13.
Yeah, because
Maybe.
Mike.
That's
Yeah,
close.
Olave now is 13. Yep.
Olave is
Yep.
close.
Olave is better. He's the man. He's so good.
He's good in
Mike
fantasy.
Evans. He's
No.
good in everything.
Yep.
Mike
I don't put
Evans?
Mike Evans there. I do not put
Dog.
Mike Evans there.
I'll put Mike
Please.
Evans there.
Dog,
That
Mike.
dude,
come
and
on.
I like Mike Evans, but let's
Yeah,
stop
apparently
acting
not
like this is
enough.
Mike Evans of old. This is an injury-ridden guy who just
Dude,
is
he's
not
that
as good as he
injury-ridden.
was.
He had again another 1,000 yards and
I
plenty of
don't.
touchdowns.
Personally, I don't. Proceed. I want to know the other
Oh my
names. Who else
God.
do you
Okay,
have?
Fine.
Who else
So
do you have? Do you have
we're up
Juju
to
on
15.
here too?
Amari Cooper. 16. Amari Cooper. I hate him. Trust me, but he's good everywhere he goes.
I would say
hate
they're
him,
like the
but he's good.
same at best.
I
I
don't-
don't.
I
Okay,
don't
keep
think
going though.
so.
Keep going.
Okay,
I like
so-
the names.
So, and Debo Samuels.
Debo Samuel. Yep.
I
Did you
love
mention
Debo.
AJ Brown yet?
I love Debo.
Yep.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's 16 for me right there.
So
and
he's
these are
top
the
20.
guys. Nope. So these are the guys I'm going to make the argument
Nope.
for. So we're up to
Nope.
16. Nope.
Wait,
We're not done
Liam,
yet.
real quick. I don't know if you answered this. Did you say AJ Brown too?
Oh, of course,
think-
dude.
yeah.
Please. He was the front runner. Yeah.
That was like his
big
5th
time.
name.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay.
He's an Eagle. Come on, you know
Yeah.
he's gonna say him first.
I eat, sleep, breathe, and shit. AJ Brown. If he was a drug, I would snort
Philly.
him in my ass.
Eat, sleep,
Okay.
shit, and Philly.
So I'm up to 16 anyway. So let's make the argument Brandon
Not
Ayuk.
13.
You said it's similar. So we
Yeah,
can.
it's similar, but I would
it's
give the
similar?
edge to Higgins just because I think
Okay.
I feel like he's a bigger
That's
body
fine.
guy that can
Because
go get.
you
the
looked
ball.
up the
That's why.
numbers. They are very
That's
similar. I will take both arguments.
Yeah.
Al, similar, better.
I'll say similar.
I'm
Yeah,
taking
that's
Ayuk,
similar.
but that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So we
I
have
don't hate that.
16. We have 16 definites. Ayuk's and maybe DeAndre Hopkins.
You have 16 depths.
Get fucked. DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Dude, yes. He's a
No.
number 1.
No.
Terry
Yeah.
McLaurin.
Yeah, in his mom's eyes, he's the number 1. Terry McLaurin, fuck no.
That's terrible. Terry
Terry
McLaurin, no.
McLaurin. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
What
he's
are we even
great with
doing here
no
now? Did you
with
see
no
me just catch
quarterbacks.
that pen without looking, by the way?
No,
Ah,
No.
sons of bitches. Run it back.
No.
I'll run it back.
Run it, yeah, please.
No, not Terry
Dude,
McLaurin. Oh my
Come on,
God.
with the quarterback play that he's had and how consistent he's been. If he had a good
will you
quarterback,
stop at no lengths to prove your hatred for things I
no,
like?
no, 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 no. Trust me, like Terry McLaurin plays for the Redskins. Like he's disgusting. I hate him, but like, dude, he's really good. He's really good.
He's good.
Come on, even
The-
Al agrees. He's
Everyone
better
you've
than T
named
Higgins.
is good, and I would take on
He's
the
better than
Patriots,
T
by the way.
Higgins. Yes, of course.
He's
We
not.
take all these
He's not.
guys on the Patriots, but he's better than T Higgins. That's the point we're
No.
getting at. Okay, so Al agrees. You don't.
Of course
you're
Al does.
disgruntled.
Of
That's
course
fine.
Al does. You two white
'Cause Al,
boys up there
Al's
in
an
New England.
intellectual. Al
I'm a
is in
white boy in
academia.
Florida.
Yep, that's true. So that discredits you a couple points. Amon Ra.
True.
Oh yeah, Amon
Yeah.
Ross St. Brown.
Yeah. I
Yes.
eat that up. Uh-huh.
I love him.
Uh-huh.
I love him, and he's
Dude,
on
better than
Detroit.
T.
He's on my
Higgins?
NFC team. He's on my NFC team.
on.
I love Amon-Ra
Oh
St.
my
Brown.
God, dog.
Him
What
and
are
his
you
brother,
doing here?
Equanimous.
See?
I love them both.
Yep, Equanimous is not that good, but that's fine. Totally, it's a cool name, I
Cool
guess.
name.
But why do you hold T. Higgins in such regard? Because Amon Ra is almost. I almost had
T.
him in
Higgins.
the unarguable.
T.
list.
Higgins. I think so. The way I look at it, if you have to not form a whole thing, but if you have to game plan against a receiver, I think that puts you up there. Now, I'm not saying T. Higgins is like you go into a game and you're like, we gotta devote Deion Sanders, Ty Law, Stephon Gilmore
no
to
one's
T.
doing
Higgins.
that
No,
for him.
but I do think that you always need to be like, where is it? Because he's a big guy who can make big catches over you. He can make the tough catches. He can run routes. He can in routes, go routes, slants, whatever you need.
He can do
Like
it
that-
all. I get it.
That's
He's
why
he's a good receiver. That's why
put
he's in
him a
this
little
list.
up there. Like that's why I put him ahead of some of the people that were.
Amon
And
Ra
again,
can
it's
run
not a
all
shot.
these.
I like him. Do not get me
Yeah.
wrong. I enjoy him. I watched him. I rooted for the Lions in the playoffs last year, but it's
Okay.
just I just put T. Higgins up there, and he's not leaps and bounds ahead of these people. Like I think once you get to like 15 to 25, it's all relatively close. But I would still put T. Higgins above a few of the people that you've said so far.
Okay. Well, either way, I would say we all have T. Higgins past 15. Maybe you, Mike, have him at 15 or like 14.
I think to
with
me
your
he's at
kind
like 16 or 17 without
Okay.
like my unofficial ranking, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Al mostly agreed with me, which would probably push him
Mhm.
to the fringes, probably almost 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
2021
maybe around
somewhere,
like
yep.
19, maybe like
Yeah.
18, 19.
Because I count all my definites, which there are 18 of them. And
Yep.
those are all my definites.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
for my
two
maybes,
Eagles players, we know. Two Eagles players. Yep.
And they deserve to be there, best receiving core in the league.
They did.
So
100%.
So 18 definites, and then I have Ayuk, Hopkins, McLaurin, and Amon Ra. 4 more, which push T. Higgins to
Out of the top 20.
23.
Okay. So
Yeah.
my question to you, what's the point? Who cares?
The point is we're chasing. We're
best
looking
available.
at this. He's not available, at least in my eyes. But like we're holding him
available. Yeah.
Yes,
In quotes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we're holding him in very high regard for somebody who's might not be like as good as everyone thinks.
Kind of
Like,
talking about
he's
him,
really
how
good.
it's like how people are like, oh, like if you can
Yeah.
get T. Higgins, like people are holding him kind of to like the offensive savior type thing. Is that what you're saying?
Because that's
I get that.
That's
'cause
what I got
don't
with
think that's
Calvin
what he
Ridley
is.
talk. Because we got the same thing with Calvin Ridley, and I had this conversation in the last episode where I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't think Calvin Ridley's the man. Like I would say, Calvin Ridley and T. Higgins are basically the same player.
They're
Like,
close.
they're
for
remarkably
sure.
similar.
For
Like
sure.
I'd say they're more similar than Ayuk and Higgins, where I just think
Yeah.
they work
Definitely.
very well.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
they both seem like the same receiver to me. So if
Okay.
we're bringing this guy in, like it just doesn't seem like the saving grace move. Yeah, it'd be cool to bring these guys in, but it's not an answer, and it's not really going to do anything for us in the window besides just give us more entertainment. If that's what we're looking for, like so be it. Then sign fucking whoever and let's ride out the next couple years and be entertained. But none of these guys are like franchise saving, game winning moves. I'd rather have Marvin Harrison over most of these guys.
Okay, for sure. Let me sell you on T. Higgins or try to take you through my thought process
Please,
for him.
because I'm open to it.
T. Higgins, obviously, he's not your number one. He's not in that top tier because
No.
I think that top tier has like 6 or 7 people, and then there's like your second tier. I think he's firmly in the second tier of receivers. I
Yeah.
think he's in your mid to high level in that tier right now. He's your best available guy, someone that you may be able to get. The reason I think it would be important to get him, or why I thought it would be important to get Ridley, assuming the Patriots draft a rookie quarterback, which we'll talk about after this before we end the episode. I think it's important to have a very good, reliable, other than like the injury he had last year. Like I'm not going to predict injury. Receiver, big body receiver to help a quarterback move forward. Right now, the Patriots do not have one of those guys. So if you're taking a quarterback, you want one of them. Now, Hunter Henry obviously is on there too. So, quarterback's best friend, blanket tight end. I get that. But to have T. Higgins here, I think that would help the young quarterback come in. Now, if the Patriots are going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr., don't need T. Higgins, obviously, because you'll have your number one guy and then you deal with the quarterback situation. So assuming they're going to draft a quarterback, I think they need a better number one receiver on their team than they have right now. And I think T. Higgins would fill that role. I thought Calvin Ridley would fill that role, but he's obviously gone because he went to the Titans. That's my thought process behind Higgins. I don't think that he is this, he's this, you have T. Higgins, sign him for 5 years. He's your number one guy moving forward. No. Yeah. If you get T. Higgins, you should still draft a receiver and hope he becomes the number one. But I think you have the money, you have the need to get T. Higgins. So that's my thought process behind it. I'm not quite he's the guy, the number one, you got to get him. Yeah, I think if you get him, though, he helps bring along the quarterback. Yeah, that's
like you're sensible about it. Yes, he's certainly not in the highest regard of receivers. I just think we'd be killing ourselves, not killing ourselves, but we'd be giving up a lot for the 23rd ranked receiver because we have to trade for him and then pay him. So when I look at the free agent wide receivers on the board right now, there are plenty that I would take that would cost less and be just as serviceable in my eyes as T. Higgins. We got Mike Williams, who just got caught. I think we're all Mike Williams guys. What's not to like? Super athletic, big bodied receiver, deep threat. Checks all Mike's boxes. And I loved him at Clemson the last year. I actually liked Clemson. Now I fucking hate him. My man, my saving grace, my savior. I fucking love this guy. My shepherd in the valley of death, Mike Thomas. Free agent wide receiver. I would eat that up. Come on, guys. Come on. Give me a little Mike Thomas love. No.
You want to know something crazy? I think the Patriots have two receivers on the team right now that are better than Michael Thomas.
You are hot.
Dude, you've
never smoked weed in your life, and you are
He
hot.
is cooked.
He's really not.
But anyways, move forward. Because the Mike Williams thing, I completely forgot about that. And I don't know why. I don't think he's better than T. Higgins. But give me Mike Williams.
I think he's just as good.
I do like Mike Williams. So
he's a beast. I think
I'd be very happy with that.
He has great potential, and that's what I get. So does T. Higgins. He had the chance to be a number one. I bet Higgins would be better than he is now. The guy we were crazy about just last year and the year before then, and for basically as long as I've been doing the show, Odell.
Nope.
I'm not psyched anymore. I'm not psyched anymore. I'm certainly not, dying to break off a piece of the Odell pie here. He was fine last year.
I think he should probably retire, I think.
Yeah.
For being honest.
He's toward the end. Which brings me to the most Patriots receiver I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I don't even say. Yep. Yeah. Dude, I would like that if you didn't have Pop Douglas or Kendrick Bourne on the team.
Yeah, because they're conflicting positions.
Yeah. Okay. I get. Listen, I get what you're saying, man. Where it's the free. So what are you thinking then? If it's not free agent, so you think they should just go through the draft? Actually, I know what you're thinking, but what?
Yeah.
What do you?
Of course, you know what I'm thinking. But I'm saying, any of these guys, I'd be perfectly fine with. More suitable. One, I don't think T. Higgins is available. Two, I think if we had to get him and if they made him available, we'd have to give up too much for him. I would rather
pick most likely.
Those top two guys would be serviceable to me, Mike Thomas and Mike Williams would both be more than fine with me. And that's my overarching point. Is I think we can go elsewhere and still get the same structure for a rookie quarterback, and he'd be fine. He'd have more weapons to throw to. I like to think Pop Douglas is going to be better the second time around.
Big time.
Hunter Henry's still there. Austin Hooper, I like him as a backup. And then if we just added one of these guys, one of these basic guys, Kendrick Bourne, of course. I assume he's going to come back more than healthy. Any of these guys here, like Tyler Boyd, okay. He's kind of over the hill, but I like him. KJ
Mhm.
Osborne went to the University of Miami, so I love him. But I don't think he's very good. I hate to admit it, but I don't
No,
think he's very good.
no, he
he's
wouldn't
really
even make
not.
the roster. Dude, you might have just switched me from T. Higgins to Mike Williams. Even though I
Yeah,
think
I
T.
mean,
Higgins is better,
We should all be in on Mike Williams, though.
you would have to give up at least a second round pick. And so
would
what
say.
I'm thinking, that fucks up my whole draft process. Because if you're going to get Mike Williams, all you got to do is sign him.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
And you can sign
just
him for
gotta
low
give him
because he's
money.
coming off a year-ending injury.
Dude, you can
You can give him a
overpay
prove-it
him
deal.
for a year. The Patriots have $55 million right now.
Yeah.
Just
And I just
pay
don't
him
know if I
whatever.
want to tie up a lot of that money in T. Higgins for
Yeah.
the fact that we're not going to
Okay,
compete
so
for the next
then-
couple of years.
Not just that, a draft pick too. I get it. Shit, you just Mike Williams.
Okay, so
that's my
so
goal.
sign Mike Williams,
Sign Mike
draft
Williams.
Jaden Daniels,
Yeah.
and then draft
Sure.
an offensive tackle in the second round.
Yeah. So now,
There you go.
so we'll end the episode with the draft talk like we always do. So
Yes, although I did want to say, and I mentioned it in the group chat, Cowboys cut Michael Gallup. I know he's coming to the Patriots. I just want to get it on the record. I just want to get it on the air so when it happens, I can go back and say that I know Michael Gallup's going to be on the Patriots. Like, I know this. It's the writing's on the wall. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the sixth sense. I see dead people. I see Michael Gallup on the Patriots.
Yeah. And honestly, like I wouldn't hate it, but it's just I feel like it's like an awkward fit, like because he's not good enough to be a number one. I don't want him to take snaps
He
away
could be.
from
I
Pop
actually
Douglas.
like him. Like, he's super talented. He's just has never been a number one.
Yeah, I mean, and the Cowboys offense
And like
isn't
we could pay
reliable.
him shit, and he'll be our number one for the next 2 years or so when we're not doing anything. And he'll probably get hurt in that time, but he'd still be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean that's all he does. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
But
And we'll finish up with the draft talk here.
The reason I've switched to Mike Williams because thinking about the second round pick, I think that pick is important because the way I see it, like the Patriots, because right now with the Bears trading away Justin Fields, they're taking the quarterback. The Commanders are taking the quarterback. So I am going to pose the question. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there. Because the Commanders are not trading out of their pick, and neither are the Bears. And if the Bears do, a team is coming there to take a quarterback. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there. So to you two, do you take MHJ or do you take one of Jaden Daniels or Drake May, depending on which guy is there? I want to hear Al
because you guys know my stance. So I'm just gonna, I'll just forward this by saying Marvin Harrison all the way. He's there. I can smell it already. It's a layup. 18 red, white.
Al, what do you do?
If Jaden Daniels is somehow still on the board, you take Jaden Daniels.
He will be there.
I think Daniels is going to go to the Commanders.
Really? That'd be bold.
Yep.
That'd be wild.
Yep. I think he's going to raise his draft stock even more.
It does seem to be fucking flying up boards.
He does.
Real quick.
For me, if Jaden Daniels is on the board, you take Jaden Daniels and you scoop him up. If Jaden Daniels is taken at 2, you take Marvin Harrison Jr. And the only other alternative is trade away the pick and see if you can get a shitload of assets for it.
So you'd rather trade the pick than take Drake May?
Yes, I don't think Drake May.
Crazy.
I think Drake May is going to be an NFL bust.
I get it, and I don't think anyone knows, so I can't even refute it. Like shit, you might be right. Yeah,
I have the feeling because
and
I was talking with a friend about this, and I'll make this quick.
Trump.
He had a bunch of changes happen at North Carolina. Lost his number 1 receiver, whole new offense, everything else, and he went down. The play went down. So if the play goes down, and he's going from that situation to another changing situation in New England, how can we expect him to succeed?
Do you think it's going to be like a Mac Jones thing where like it's kind of the weapons that helped make him a little bit more?
I think I'll tell you what, bold take. I think it's going to be worse because at least in 2021, the Patriots went out and got Hunter Henry, who's still on the team, yes, and Jonnu Smith and Kendrick Bourne, who's still on the team, yes, and Nelson Aguilar and all those guys. Like they went out and actually spent. Right now, what do they have? They have a couple good backs. They have Pop Douglas, Kendrick Bourne, fine. And Hunter Henry, yes, but they still need to revamp that offensive line, which they haven't done a lot of besides re-signing Mike Nwenu, and they still need that number 1 receiver. So that's why Drake May came here. I feel like Jaden Daniels would handle it a little bit better, and I feel like because of the dual threat, I'm not saying Drake May's not dual threat, but I think Daniels
He
is
can run a
more of a
little
dual
bit,
threat
yeah.
quarterback. But Daniels is more of that dual threat quarterback than Drake May is. I think Drake May is going to be similar to Mitch Trubisky. That's exactly how I see it happening.
Same college.
That's just because he's white. That's why you're saying
Yeah.
that.
I am still not
No,
sold on Drake May. My buddy
get it.
loves him, and I don't really understand why. So if it's
You
between
either
Drake
love him or
May
hate him.
and
That's it.
yeah,
It's
literally,
crazy.
and I
Yeah.
hate him. So if it's between Drake May or Marvin Harrison for the third pick,
Marvin Harrison, easy,
okay, thanks.
So
Okay.
easy.
I for two reasons. One for just so to
I
have the
hope the
discussion
Commanders
too.
take June Daniels.
But I also just think they should just take the quarterback that's available. I don't think you're going to get to you shouldn't be getting this high in the draft moving forward. I think Drake May or Jaden Daniels both have the potential. Now, again, what they're going to be, we don't know. People, you think they're going to be X, Y, and Z. They might be. I would take the shot on the quarterback because I think with that second round pick, you can package some picks to get back up there to get a wide receiver if you wanted to do that, or you could use that second round pick to draft a starting tackle or something, and then just kind of hope that, maybe you hit on a receiver, trade up to get one of them. But even though that's my thought, that's what I would do. I can see you guys saying, take Marvin Harrison Jr. And then in the second round, you take one of the Bo Nix, Penix, McCarthy. You take someone like
you don't even have to do it in the second round. You could take one of those quarterbacks in the third, get a tackle.
If they fall, yeah. If they fall,
just
there's a
leaves
bunch
you
of
more
options.
McCarthy's going up the boards too. A lot of
so you
people
might
are
have to
starting
trade. So you might have to trade for him. Now, there was talks about the Vikings wanting to move up, and they have the 11th and the 23rd pick right now.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah,
because they traded with Houston to get another pick.
That's where, if you want to do that, even though I don't think, I think people are just bored right now, so they're talking about the Patriots trading out of the pick. Like, let's just take the pick and move on. But if you are going to trade back, you wanted to trade with the Vikings, I'd be down with that, because then with the 11th pick, if you see quarterbacks going, you can take a quarterback. If Rome is there, you can take him. If there's one of those high receivers up there, you can take them and then take a quarterback with your second first round pick. I don't know. There's a bunch of options. I think that no matter what you think or where you're going with it, there's definitely plenty of reasons to be optimistic right now about the Patriots position moving into the draft.
Yeah.
Because they can do a bunch of things, especially if they say they were to sign Mike Williams, that frees them up to do even more, I think.
Yeah. And to your point, Mike, where it's like, we're never hopefully going to have a high draft pick like this. Let's just take a quarterback. Just because we're picking a quarterback in the front of the draft doesn't mean they're going to be good. Like
I get that too.
The third pick. And you can use every example in the book. You can also use fantastic quarterbacks like him who were taking one.
Yeah,
So,
Trey Lance was taken with the third pick in 2021, and he turned out to be nothing. So I get it.
Well.
It is a complete roll of the dice. It really comes down. This is where you got to put stock into the people who know.
A lock. Like for gambling people, like if I could buy stock of players, like dude, I would buy every bit of Marvin Harrison stock I could. That's like buying Apple early on or Amazon early on. Dude, it's a layup.
But then is he going to be the guy that, there's always that one great Calvin Johnson for so long. Or not even Calvin Johnson. You can talk about Julio Jones, where you have such a good receiver on just a mediocre team. I don't know. But then you might hit on a quarterback in the second round. You don't know.
But I'm willing to take that risk because the Lions, that was years of ineptitude and terrible drafting and fucking it up left and right. And that happens historically very few times, and we laugh at them for many years because of it.
Yeah, true. I don't know. There's so many options. You don't want to be the Browns of past years, but then you also don't want to be like the Vikings, where you're a middling team. You want to hit on the draft, how teams have. I don't know, but the draft just needs to get here, because I just want to know. I just want to know what we're working with now. I guarantee you, we'll hang up here and the Patriots will sign Mike Williams tomorrow. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. It's tough. Do you guys have any parting thoughts before we get out of here, though? I got nothing else.
Sums it
The
up.
draft is going to be very important. They better nail this draft.
Yeah, no, they got to nail it. I think bunch of good options. We'll just see if the Patriots pick the right one. So for Liam, Al, myself, happy St. Patrick's Day. or
Top of the
happy
morning to
belated
ya.
St. Patrick's Day, I guess. Go
Stay
drink,
safe, be responsible.
Yep.
stay safe, be
Or
responsible. Do not watch the
Yeah.
Patriots documentary. We're out.